Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And oh my god, it's another freaking Star Wars video.
I know. We said no one cares, and here we are yet again.
We care when it comes to dismal Star Wars.
They're going to care about this one.
This one you guys are going to care about. This is kind of another bombshell regarding Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and Kathleen Kennedy seemingly wanting to overwrite the legacy of George Lucas. So this explains everything. We're going to talk about how Kathleen Kennedy is the one who pushed for Galaxy's Edge to be based on the sequel trilogy. Imagineering was well underway in making Galaxy's Edge based on the original trilogy. They had plans for it. They were designing Mos Eisley Cantina. They were designing attractions based on the original trilogy. And then a fateful call came in from Kathleen Kennedy to Bob Iger, and everything got thrown out the window. So we're going to talk about that before we get into it. Please subscribe for more pop culture, news, views, and rants. We're over 100,000 subs, guys. We do have a play button unboxing coming this week.
We just haven't got to it yet.
We have to finish it up. We have to finish the video up. It requires a little more editing than what we usually do. But thanks for the support. So here we go. This was actually given to us by a friend of ours.
Yep. Thank you. He knows who he is. A friend.
Friend. Send us the link to Lou Mangello's WDW radio podcast.
Right.
Now I've actually met Lou.
I would say you know Lou.
I know Lou. He's actually okay.
He was at Galaxy's Edge and we were there too, and he was very happy to see you. You guys.
Yeah. Lou's okay. I like Lou. Now Lou is a Disney super fan. He's been doing the podcast for many, many years. He knows a lot of people in and around the Walt Disney Company, including former Walt Disney World Vice President Dan Cockerell. He knows a lot of people, right?
Yeah, I was waiting for people to be like, well, you're just saying this because this from somebody who doesn't know anything. No.
So they had a chat, and Lou has chats with Disney Imagineers all the time.
Yep.
And this was not a judgmental chat. Lou did not give up any opinions. Cockerell just outlined exactly what happened.
Yeah, it was more like here's what happened. Like, people talking like, well, how'd this happen? Well, and it wasn't even opinion based at all. It wasn't like they liked or didn't like. It was just like, well, here's what happened.
Right. So just disclaim, there's no personal feelings involved on either of those guys, and on our end, though, we've got some pretty strong opinions about what went down.
Which that verifies what we thought already.
This is the second time that we have heard in the last year on a podcast with former Disney employees, because if you were working at Disney, you would not be telling people this stuff. Former Disney employees that they were planning to make Galaxy's Edge based on the original trilogy, that they actually had 2 years of work into it.
Yep.
That was going to be very, very different from what we got, but you can still see pieces of it in the current incarnation.
Right, and his story actually, this past VP, his story actually makes sense because we've often questioned, well, why is it so far away from like Star Tours and things like that? Doesn't make sense. Well, we get some answers for that.
Yeah, it actually was supposed to be built around Star Tours. They were going to build Galaxy's Edge or whatever it was called at the time around Star Tours, and that would have included absorbing the Indiana Jones theater.
Well, this makes sense too because remember around that time they suddenly were going to do something with the building on the corner of the Iron Building.
Oh yeah.
That was a Flatiron Building.
Yeah.
They were going to do something with that, and it suddenly got, and then the Tap House like suddenly appeared.
Yeah.
Like, there was something going on, and they went with that instead. So that's kind of what it tied in. Yeah,
there's some weird stuff going on there. Like even Squid King, we go to Galaxy's Edge. He's like, why is Star Tours like over here? And then you're in like New York for a little bit with the Muppets, and then you're in the big. And this explains it because it was not supposed to be where it's at. It was supposed to be over. But beyond that, my takeaway from this, and we're going to talk about what he said. My takeaway from this is, my God, Kathleen Kennedy's hubris. Just absolutely appalling. This whole thing was because she basically thought her version of Star Wars was superior and would last as long as George Lucas's original trilogy, that she pulled the plug on all their plans for the original trilogy.
Yeah, and they talk about like all the stuff moving forward. Well, what stuff moving forward? It's already locked in based on that trilogy. There's no other moving forward. It's not like going to go High Republic or anything like that. There's no way. The buildings aren't going to match up.
No.
So, it wasn't about moving forward. It was about locking in her version of Star Wars. I'm honestly surprised you're allowed to enter Galaxy's Edge if you don't have boobs.
Yeah, I mean, Galaxy's Edge has just been, look, it's been a brain fart cluster since day one. It opened, a lot of people were like, oh, it's a flop, but Disneyland was actually driving people away. They opened it with one attraction. It led to the firing.
Yeah, the one attraction's what drove people away.
Yeah, that was a huge miscalculation. But, big complaint a lot of people have about it is it's not based on the original trilogy. It's not like Universal did with Harry Potter, where they let you live the movie. Now, I understand the thinking behind it, where, like, we don't want people to be beholden to the movies. We want them to have their own Star Wars adventure. But what happens is, since you don't have characters like Darth Vader in Galaxy's Edge, it feels like knockoff Star Wars.
You get Kylo Ren occasionally walking around.
Occasionally.
But, yeah, everybody just follows the dude. The poor dude's like, walking, and they're all following him and jumping in front of him and stuff. But... yeah, it really does feel more like a desert flea market than it does, the Star Wars. I mean, I wish they would have done more than just the desert planet. Like, that's everything anymore. There's another desert planet. Guess what? Here's another desert planet. And if we're not done with that, we have yet another desert planet.
How many freaking desert planets do they have in Star Wars? Well, it's interesting, though, because... I think you can, and we speculated before the Imagineers came out and said, oh yeah, it was originally supposed to be original trilogy. He never elaborated, though. That was J. Daniel Jenkins last year. Now, Dan is saying that, yeah, we actually planned for it to be Tatooine. You can see this.
You can see this.
You can see this because it would have had the Mos Eisley Cantina, which they were designing, and you see a lot of that in Oga's Cantina. Docking Bay 94. The Falcon, we even said the proximity of everything, you very easily could just overlay Tatooine on Batuu,
so
and you get the same thing.
Adapted their already existing plans for the original trilogy.
Well, why start over?
Right.
So this is what happened. Bob Chapek did make the call, but he made the call at the urging of Kathleen Kennedy, and her hubris is astounding.
Stories go together.
Yeah, they do. So this is what Dan Cockerell says. He's about 16-30 minute mark in this podcast. There's a link to it. I'm going to link to this article, and you can find the link to the podcast in the article. Okay, so this is what he said. We just purchased Lucasfilm. It started to become the talk about, okay, he was kind of all over the place, right? If you're going to bring Star Wars to life, where are we going to do it? Hollywood Studios ended up being the place because, they needed some new stuff. So he said, we worked on that project for a couple of years. There were artists looking at layouts of the park. You just get a big aerial view, and you get a big magic marker, and you start saying, what if this was here and that was there? So you start blocking off these big chunks of space. That kind of drills all the way down, and you keep going until you get to the attraction level. Okay, cool. And so we did it for a couple of years. We had the Epic Theater, Indiana Jones. That was going to be the heart of Star Wars land. That was going to go away, and we were going to plug it in right there. So it would have been right by Star Wars.
And actually behind Indiana Jones Theater, there's a parking area, and there's a large area that extends out that would have given them a lot more room, because that theater has a big backstage area, and then it goes out further into parking and all that. So that would have given them a lot to work with right there, and it would have tied it into Star Tours.
Right. So the Mos Eisley Cantina was going to be right across from Star Tours. That would have made so much sense because Star Tours is already themed. It already looks like it's part of Tatooine. You just drop the cantina across the street and you build around it. That's
already themed. It looks like it's part of Endor.
Yeah, well, they could take the Endor part out.
No, they cannot take the Endor part out. I will be very mad, and I will protest. Well, I will chain myself to that walker. Okay,
I'm wondering what's going to happen. I'm afraid they're going to take it out now. They're going to be like, oh, we got Star Wars Land. We don't need Star Tours, too. We'd gotten way down the path on our drawings. We hadn't gotten into the architectural drawings or anything yet. And then we got a call one day. They said, we got some news for y'all. And the Imagineering guys, they heard this line many, many times during their careers, but I'd never been through this, says the VP. They said, well, yesterday, Bob Iger met with Kathleen Kennedy, who a lot of people may know as sort of George Lucas's protege.
It sounds like the sidekick who wants to be the hero.
Yep, and she headed up Lucasfilm, and they had a conversation, a meeting, and Kathleen Kennedy, her point of view was, there are way more Disney Star Wars stories ahead of us than behind us.
Disney Star Wars stories.
So we really should think about, do we want to build Tatooine and build what all of the 50-somethings remember Star Wars as?
Excuse me. No, I'm not 50. You're not 50.
No.
There's a lot of people who like the original trilogy who aren't anywhere near 50.
Or do we want to build something else which is going to appeal to all the upcoming generations who are going to know the new stories?
And by new story, she just means her trilogy.
Yeah, exactly. And on that day, Tatooine was killed at the studios. And he was pretty upset. He's like, we spent 2 years working on Tatooine, and they killed it because Kathleen Kennedy decided that old Star Wars was too old.
Well, at the time, too, you have to understand, this is when the dailies are coming out from The Force Awakens, and it went really well because people wanted the original cast. Yeah. And they thought they were going to get, a reunion, and everybody went to the movie, and they're like, oh, yeah, this is well. Yes, because everybody went there wanting Han, Luke, Leia, Chewie, R2, 3PO, etc. And not only they were going to get new characters too, but that they really wanted were those characters. And there wasn't any official handing over, no matter what they try to argue.
Yeah.
They didn't give the fans what they wanted. And then people still were like, okay, we're willing to give them another chance with The Last Jedi. So they went. And then after The Last Jedi, after like a week or two, when the viewings went off a cliff, and then it was all downhill from there. But when he made the changes, he was basing it on The Force Awakens under the premise that it's because everybody wanted these new movies, not because people just wanted the old gang got back together.
Yeah, and Disney couldn't even get that right. They couldn't even get the three leads, the trio back together for one damn scene in any of the movies.
But if nothing proves what we've been saying, which was Disney has been proactively trying to undo the original trilogy, to make Luke the bad guy, to undo everything that we've been saying they're trying to do, this is it. Because they basically, Kathleen Kennedy, her whole mindset summed up in one. Well, with Disney Star Wars, my Star Wars, we need to move forward into something else and not even look at that 50-something, sexist, misogynist, ageist thing that's back there. And this sums it all up.
Yeah, they've gone out of their way to destroy Luke, which is basically, George Lucas's OC, Luke Skywalker, but they've gone out of their way to destroy and disparage Luke Skywalker. They destroyed him in The Last Jedi. Even the stupid little cartoons, the Galaxy of Adventures, they've turned Luke into a complete joke. Yeah. And they've made Leia do stuff she never did to make Luke look bad.
But they hide behind this idea of women were kept out till now, which again, I'm going to say, which I've said many, many, many times before in these videos, is a load of shit. I'm sorry, but it is. Women have always been popular in Star Wars. Women have always been strong characters in Star Wars since the beginning, through all the expanded universe. And, now, obviously, in the new movies, because that's the agenda they're pushing like so hard, it's ridiculous. But this idea that, it's a new thing that women, are important in Star Wars is a load of crap. And I'm so tired of them undoing and changing things. Leia was awesome on her own. You didn't need to redo it. She kicked their ass and saved them anyway. Yeah. The whole scene with the garbage chute, Leia's the one who got him in there. Granted, they could have died, but still, she was taking charge. And it had nothing to do with dude. She's always been take charge. But no, they just invented it with the new trilogy. And the shows moving forward that have to be marked as female-centric, even though it was a dude in charge. They don't hear Cassian Andor, the male-centric show.
Yeah, to borrow from Star Trek, or Picard, the fucking hubris of Kathleen Kennedy. She honestly thinks that her version of Star Wars is going to stand the test of time like George Lucas is, and she's trying to supplant George Lucas' Star Wars.
The Force Awakens was A New Hope all over again. Yeah. Let's be honest. And then they went too heavy with nostalgia on The Rise of Sky. It's a mess. It's a mess.
And why she's still there. Look,
that's what I want to know.
At first, I was like, well, maybe we're just, we're being a little too hard on her. Maybe she's, whatever. She does have a pedigree. We were watching The Goonies the other night, and she worked on The Goonies. It's like, what?
Yeah, but she was never in charge of these things. Right. She was always the support.
Yeah. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
Sometimes you're there as support, and support is important, but support isn't the same as, being in charge.
You're a hero support. Get to the sidekick lounge.
Kind of.
Get in the sidekick lounge here, Kathy. So anyway, this is a cluster. This explains everything. Disney basically thought their Star Wars was going to be better than George Lucas's, and there's a reason, that they're still making rides current year based on classic IP. Mm-hmm. They just built the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train like 5 years ago. Snow White is on the better side of being a century old. And they're still and people are going to ride this ride for decades and they're going to love it. They still love the dwarves. They love Snow White. They're not basing any attractions on the damn direct-to-DVD cheapquels, are they?
No.
And that's what Disney Star Wars is. It's a direct-to-DVD cheapquel to the original trilogy.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. And then, tying up to what you said about Kathleen Kennedy with her overinflated opinion of herself, We also have this whole thing going on with that, Russian dolls chick. And it's up in the air whether or not Kathleen Kennedy was behind that announcement or the girl just went and did it on her own. It's up in the air about that, but apparently it was enough that from the rumor that the Bobs were ticked makes me think that she had to have known about it.
Yeah.
That they're taking meetings and stuff, and now suddenly you aren't hearing anything about it unless other blogs are just late to the party. So it just seems like she just keeps overstepping. And for feminism, and if you don't agree, or of course you're a misogynistic, sexist troll, even though I'm a woman, whatever, yeah. I don't agree. I think they could have saved. I mean, I still think The Force Awakens was very New Hope, but I could see where they were going, and I understood why they made the choices they made to get the old fans back. But from then on, they had this whole wide world they could have done amazing things with, and they didn't. And then they turned around and ruined everything that was good.
Yeah, it's crazy, but I mean, just to put this in there, because I mentioned this yesterday. Speaking of Galaxy's Edge, you know how Disney celebrated the construction, the finish of Galaxy's Edge? Mm-hmm. They had a Christmas party, and they fired people that worked on it.
At the Christmas
party, right after the Christmas party. I'm not kidding. This is another Imagineer on another podcast. Like, they're spilling the beans. They're like,
go out to the podcast, clearly.
We have nothing. These guys are like, we have nothing left to lose. We're retired. We don't give a shit. So yeah, this is Imagineer Kirk Hansen. This was just like, 2-3 days ago? Mm-hmm. He said once the Star Wars thing wrapped up, they had this big Christmas party and dinner, and dessert was a pink slip. And then the host, Nathan Hartman.
Who's been on here?
We had Nathan Hartman on before. He said that's a long legacy of Imagineering, the Christmas wake, as it were. That happens quite often. So people are surprised about how Disney's treating their employees now. You shouldn't be.
No.
This is how they do things. This is how they do it. But this is a cluster. I have to wonder. I mean, you look at Galaxy's Edge currently, so easily they could go in and make a Tatooine again.
They could. But I think they left it the way they did so that it could be retroactively changed back. But I think the damage has been done.
With the Star Wars is not what it used to be. The sequel trilogy, movie over movie, they've been declining. The only bright spot they had is The Mandalorian, mm-hmm. and I'm sure they'll kill that too.
Well, that's what we're talking. Now they're starting to talk that they're going to bring in Thrawn, The Mandalorian, at some point, and spin that off with possibly Mara Jade on a show, and everybody's getting their own spin-off show. And
so let me get this straight: the first thing Disney does is they come in and they burn down the EU.
Right.
But now they're pulling all the characters out of the EU because they don't know what else to do.
Well, they had Dash Rendar's ship, and then there's talk that they're going to bring Sizor into it. I'm like,
what the hell?
Our stuff isn't working. Quick, go find out what people actually liked.
Could it be more obvious that Lucasfilm, current year Disney, doesn't know what the fuck it's doing with Star Wars? They don't. They've dropped this is money in the bank.
I mean, with the Mandalorian and stuff. Well, they're going to probably ruin because Baby Yoda ended up being such a big hit that they're going to make it more of the Baby Yoda show probably moving forward. And I really worry about what's going to happen to that show.
It's going to be like Steve Urkel. He was supposed to be a guest star in a couple episodes and he took over the show. They're gonna Baby Urkel, Baby Yoda.
Yeah, and if I see one more Chicky Nuggies thing, I'm gonna
for God's sake
scream.
Yeah, they're gonna make it uncool. Like Baby Yoda's like, yeah, it's pretty cool. But now all the Karens like Star Wars is not cool anymore.
No.
Well,
the casual fans who suddenly think that they're the experts on Star Wars, actually listen to a video I've done.
Yeah, it's that Star Wars isn't cool anymore. Disney, you successfully made Star Wars very, very uncool. Mm-hmm. It's not cool to be a Star Wars fan now. So,
except for original trilogy, you're still allowed to be original trilogy fan.
Yeah, that's still cool. That's always gonna be cool.
It's always cool.
It's timeless.
That's right.
All right, so we're gonna wrap this up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, rumors, and rants on Clownfish TV. We'll talk later.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.